Today's special guest on The Crypt is the lead singer of T'Pau, Carol Decker. Best known for their power ballad China in Your Hand, Irish fans will be delighted to know that they can catch T'Pau live at the Forever Young Festival this summer at Palmerstown House in Naas. So thanks for joining me today, Carol.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
Well, firstly, can we go back to how you first met band member and songwriting partner Ronnie Rogers and T'Pau being formed?
Gosh, it's going back 30 years. I don't know if I can remember everything. I lived in Shrewsbury. Although I'm from Liverpool, I grew up in Shropshire from the age of 7. And I was at art school in Shrewsbury in Shropshire. And I liked singing. And somebody said, I know this guitarist. You've got a good voice. They heard me sing along to the radio. So I went to a party and I met this guitarist called Julian who had a band. So I joined his band and we were called the Lasers. And Ronnie was in another local band called the Cats, and we were the two most popular bands in the area. A little bit of competition going on there,
Mm-hmm.
So I went to see Ronnie play one night at a pub, and absolutely fancied the pants off him. So I set my cap for him, as they say, and we ended up on the same bill. There was a big concert at a farm, and a big Radio 1 DJ. I think it might have been Gary Davis was hosting the night, and they wanted local talent, so. The Cats were on the bill, the Lasers were on the bill, and I just got chatting to Ron and we started dating. And then he left his band and joined my band.
Yeah.
And then we both left that band and started songwriting together, and that was the bones of T'Pau, the start of it, in about, 82, 83, I suppose.
The name then, T'Pau, what does that mean?
It's a Star Trek character from the original TV series. Starring William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, and I think I'm not a Trekkie. I'm not. I just liked the word. I was watching the telly, and we needed a name for the band, and we couldn't think of one that we agreed on. And so this episode was on the telly, and they kept going T'Pau, 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 and she's quite a kick-ass character, actually. Quite a kick-ass girl. She was the only female member of the Intergalactic Council. So, real girl power there. And I said, well, I think it's a snappy word. And the band basically said it was the one they hated the least. So,
so you went with it.
Yeah, and we'd made the album. We'd made Bridge of Spies. It was in the can. It was due for release, but we didn't have a name. So we had to pick one,
Well, I'm going to get attacked now by all the Trekkie fans. How did you not know that?
Well, she's in what I do know, because I have been educated by my fans who are big Trekkies. She's in an episode called Amok Time, and I think she was also a relative of Mr. Spock, like a great aunt or something like that. So there you go. Vulcan High Priestess.
Well, then how did you come about then to getting signed to a label?
Just hard work, the way you did it back then, because like I say, it was the early 80s, was you wrote some songs and you played as many shows as you could. And, we didn't have the internet then or anything, or YouTube. So living in a sort of rural backwater in Shropshire was a little difficult. So we would try and get gigs in nearby cities like Birmingham and Wolverhampton, where it's all changed now, but back then the big record labels would have regional offices and scouts, PR scouts. Sorry, A&R scouts, not PR. And so you try and get a bit of notice. So we did, and we ended up on local radio, BRMB in Birmingham, and Beacon Radio in Wolverhampton. And then there was some local television coming out of Pebble Mill was a big studio in Birmingham at the time, TV studio. So we got some local notoriety, and we built on that. And then we started to try and get shows in London, just crappy pubs. Honestly, I can't tell you how many times we did a 4-hour drive down the motorway to play to the bartender and his dog, because the A&R guy who said he would come to the show didn't turn up. It was all about getting those A&R guys, artists and repertoire, to come and see you. So anyway, long story short, because I can't do my whole life story in real time, we just finally got some management in London, and he persuaded the A&R guy from Siren, who was a subsidiary of Virgin, and they put us in a rehearsal studio, and they came to see us showcase, not gig, but showcase, And by the way, folks, my autobiography, Heart and Soul, which you can buy on Amazon, has all the details of my life story in it if you want to buy it.
Nice little plug.
Absolutely.
Your first hit from the album Bridge of Spies was Heart and Soul. So
Yeah.
that went to number 4 in the UK chart. So can you talk about the process of deciding which song to release first?
Well, Heart and Soul actually was almost a flop. It got released and it went into the top 100 and it went straight back out again. And it was only because America loved that song. Mm-hmm. It started climbing the American charts. And then back here in the UK, very trendy jeans company called Pepe Jeans had heard the song. Yeah. And they used it in their cinema campaign. So that gave it a reprieve and it got re-released in the UK. And it was always going to be the first single because we all agreed it's unique. 2 vocals, a bit of a rap on it, fantastic bass hook. For me as a writer, it's still the song I'm most proud of because it is so different. So we got a right kick in the teeth when the British public just sort of went, nah, I don't think so. But so thank God for Pepe Jeans and thank God for the American Billboard chart. That's all I can say.
Well, then came the release of China in Your Hand, which is now one of the most played songs of the 80s. Were you surprised at what a hit that became?
I was, because it's a pretty standard ballad. For me, personally, I was, Heart and Soul was always going to be massive and China in Your Hand was a ballad. But we didn't have that song when we signed our deal. It didn't exist. Ronnie and I, we got signed on Heart and Soul, Valentine, I Will Be With You, Monkey House, Sex Talk. They were all the songs that the record label heard. So we were in Chicago doing the album with Roy Thomas Baker, who produced Bohemian Rhapsody, and one song wasn't working. Can't remember what it was. And he said, we need to dump this. We're wasting time and money, what other songs have you got? And I literally had a cassette in my pocket that Ronnie and I had started working on before we flew out.
Yeah.
I had the sort of storyline and the lyrics roughly, but they weren't quite right. And Ron had the fantastic chords and on the piano. And Roy said, that's a brilliant song. So he literally wrote it on the hoof in the studio.
Wow.
And of course, everybody knows, especially with the movie Bohemian Rhapsody being so popular at the moment, that, Roy Thomas Baker knows how to make a dramatic, big record. So, it's a great song. It works on every level. It works acoustically. It works just with a piano. I shall be singing it with an orchestra in Leeds this year. It works on every level.
Wow.
But I have to give Roy the credit for saying that's an ace song. That's the one,
And when you have such a massive hit like that, I'd imagine it lays on the pressure then for the follow-up.
Oh, God. We never did really equal it, which is kind of frustrating on an artistic level because I think we've written some other great songs, but, you can't argue with what the public wants. They like things or they don't like things. There's nothing much you can do about it. But, yeah, you're right. It's a huge benchmark.
And then could you talk about the decision then for the band to eventually split?
It was the record company dropped us. We'd had our glory time and, Bridge of Spies was quadruple platinum. Rage, the second album, was platinum. That's still massive. The last original lineup album called The Promise in 1991 went gold. So still top 10, but decreasing numbers. And in 1991, EMI bought Virgin Records and they just dumped a shed load of bands that they didn't think were working, and we were one of them.
Oh, God.
I know, so I, obviously wasn't very happy about that. And also by then, we weren't getting along. It's all in the book, folks, Heart and Soul. We just weren't getting along. We'd spent so much time together. It's an incredibly intense
I can imagine.
Relationship. And you will hear the same story from many, many bands if you watch any of these documentaries. And, they'll all say we started out like the 3, 4, 5, 6 Musketeers, so close, all for one for all, and then couldn't bear the sight of each other after 3 years of solid touring,
Yeah.
So record sales slumping, personal relationships declining. and just called it a day. We just called it a day. And then very, very sadly, after 13 years, about 2 years after that, Ronnie and I broke up as well. So it was tough. It couldn't have been more wonderful. And then it couldn't have been more awful, actually, after a while.
In 2015, you reunited professionally with Ronnie. So
yes.
How did that come about, and what have you been up to since?
Well, just the beginning of 2015, we just snuck under the wire of our 25th anniversary. And Ronnie and I, once we'd put the personal issues behind us and the dust had settled on the sadness of all that, we were always and still are great friends.
Yeah.
There wasn't anyone else involved. It was nothing like that. I just think it was the pressure, everything just kind of sucked us dry. We had nothing left to give each other,
Yeah.
So once we'd sort of let the dust settle on that, we'd stayed great friends, but he just wanted to do his own thing. He didn't like London, so he moved back to the country. He settled in Monmouth. He's got a big, farmhouse and recording studio, and he likes to noodle and produce other bands, and he's helped, some young talent as well, give them some demo time, because that's the sort of opportunities we got given by Kingsley Ward, who owns Rockfield Studios. He gave us some production time and, a little bit of a leg up. He likes all that. And then I said, look, let's go on the road. It's our 25th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And I continued to work live. I'd never stopped. And I said, come on, it'll be fun. And he was ready for it. He had to walk away from it for a while. He really did. And he was ready to come back. And now I can't get rid of him.
You're stuck with him.
He just phoned me up about an hour ago.
Well, I seen you perform at the Rewind Festival last year. It was my first time there. And oh my God, you still have some pipes on you.
Well, thank you. I do try. I'm very lucky. I still have a strong voice. And, I try and look after it. I'm not always the most well-behaved person in the world. I do like to go to the pub and have a pint or three of wine. But whenever I'm working, if I've got gigs and stuff coming up, then I start to be well-behaved. I've just done a big workout now, because to sing, you have to be fit. Yeah. It's very aerobic,
I noticed with like some other acts, not naming anyone out, but just some other acts, you noticed they were getting a bit breathless.
I do too.
Yeah.
Because, I'm 61 now, but I'm aware of all that. And I know that you take so much for granted when you're young. You have got strength and youth on your side, but your voice and your vocal cords, you've got to keep them fit. They're muscles, and they sit on top of your, chest, and you've got to have aerobic capacity and keep fit in order for those notes to sit on top of everything. Otherwise, you will be gasping for air. And I didn't make life easy for myself writing such a big bloody ballad like China in Your Hand.
Here's the question now: would you ever get sick of performing it?
I think sometimes I will. I'm thinking, again. But as soon as people hear either the pizzicato strings or the piano start, they just sing it back to me.
Yeah.
And I always get, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up by the time you get to the chorus, and everyone's doing the wave from side to side. And we've got the most amazing pictures and footage of festivals like Rewind, where there's 20,000 people just all waving their arms and doing the 80s wave, and singing China in Your Hand back to me. That
it must be just amazing. Feeling, yeah. I'd say so. Well, then you guys are coming to Ireland for the Forever Young Festival. So excited. That's between the 5th and the 7th of July. So which days are you playing?
I'm on the Sunday, I believe.
And is there anyone else on the lineup that you're looking forward to checking out yourself?
I don't know who's on the same day as me. Holly Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
He's a mate of mine, so I'll be watching him that night. But some of the others, I don't think I fly in till Sunday morning. So I love Kim Wilde. She's also a great friend of mine. I always like to watch Kim. I love the Human League, but I think they're on other days. I don't think I'll actually be there. But it's a really great festival. I've just had a quick look on the website before you called, just to make sure I knew what I was talking about, because I don't always. And And there are some great people. Heaven 17 are great fun, and it's a sterling lineup. It really is.
As a performer, what's it like for you to step back in time at these festivals? You have everybody dressed up in their 80s gear, and
what do I think? I don't see it that way. I know that a lot of the audience see it as a little trip down memory lane, but for me, it's my work, and every gig in front of me is a new gig, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And if you have a long career like I now have, 30 years, then of course you're going to be singing songs you wrote a long time ago. But in my head, I'm not back in 1987. I'm in front of you in 2019. But I appreciate that the fans do like to put on the leg warmers and look ridiculous, frankly.
But you know what?
I didn't dress like that in the 80s, folks.
But that's it. Half the time, though, I always say that when people dress up in 80s, they're not dressed the way people actually dressed in the 80s. It's just really hyped up to something else.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what I do a lot of over here in England is Butlins, the holiday camps. They have massive music weekends, and I do the big 80s weekenders. And if I see another Richard Gere or Pat Sharp wig, I'm going to kill myself. It's been decent. And day-glow leg warmers and net skirts and stuff. But, they're having a great time.
And I find because it's an older crowd, it's just a totally different kind of atmosphere to, like Electric Picnic or festivals like that. And everybody's mixing and everyone's getting on. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it is. I think, you can look into the economics of it and the socio-economics of it, that we're not as old as our parents were at our age.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
true.
We're not ready to sort of just stay home and polish the car on a Sunday. You've got some disposable income and you want to party to the soundtrack of your youth. Yeah. And that's wonderful, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. I was so excited when I seen this festival was in Ireland because as I said, I travelled over to England last year for the Rewind. I'm going again this year as well because the more 80s I get, the better. So I'll have 2 80s festivals this summer.
Good. Which one are you going to? Which Rewind are you going to?
Down to Henley. That's where you live, actually, isn't it? Henley
on
Thames.
I do, yeah. I was on the bill last year, though, so I'm not on the bill this year.
It is beautiful there.
It is. Well, not today. It's not. It's raining. Pouring.
Same here. Well, listen, Carol, before I let you go then, where can people keep up with all things T'Pow?
Oh, well, thank you. I do love a plug. Well, obviously, I'm on Twitter, so @Carol Decker. And then we have our Facebook page, which is simply T'Pow/Carol Decker. And then we have the website, which is all the W's, and then it's tpau.co.uk, T'Pow.co, all lowercase, no apostrophe in the T'Pow. And we've always got pictures and gig information. You can buy records, you can buy my book, that you can always keep up with me. But I do like a little bit of a natter on Twitter as well. So
cool, that's great. And of course, everybody, don't forget to go out and buy the book, Heart and Soul. All the details you missed today are in that.
Yeah, all the professional banana skins you slip on the way to your success.
Oh, that's great. Carol, thank you so much. It's been real fun chatting with you today.
It's a pleasure. I hope you enjoy the show. Bye, everybody. See you in July.